Hi guys. All right, I wanted to go over some of the rounding practice that we did today, just to review it before we go in tomorrow. I saw that you were struggling just a little bit today, so I wanted to add some extra help. So let's look at some of the ones that we did today that I saw some errors on. So we had 3 different types that we introduced, and it was either round to the nearest whole number, round to the nearest tenth, or round to the nearest hundredth. We'll be working on the same thing tomorrow, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a thing of practice just so you can be more ready for tomorrow. So, all right, let me find one. So whole number, it was 78 and 1500ths. And then let's do 3 and 5900ths. And then let's do 44 and 242 hundredths. All right, so if we are rounding to the nearest whole number, we're going to look at this first whole number, the ones place, and we're going to box that. Then we are going to go next door. So our poem that we were using in class today was find the number in its spot. So if the spot is the nearest whole number, I'm going to go to the ones place. I'm going to box that. Then I'm going to go next door to see what we've got. I've got a 1. 5 or more, we're going to raise the score. 4 or less, we're going to let it rest. So next door is a 1. A 1 is 4 or less. So we are going to let it rest, meaning I'm going to leave this number alone. I'm not going to do anything with it. So I'm going to leave my 7. I'm going to leave my 8. And then the last part of the poem says everything that's to the right, so everything to the right of the box runs to 0 in a fright. So I can put the 0.00, or I can just leave it off. I don't even need it. It's just 78. So if I am rounding to the nearest whole number, then I should have my answer as a whole number. There shouldn't be any decimals. All right, on the next one, I'm rounding to the nearest tenth. So here is my 10th place. I head next door, and I see that I've got a 9. 9 is 5 or more, so I'm going to raise the score. So my number that's in my box is going to be raised to the next 10th. So everything to the left stays the same, so 3.6. Again, everything to the right of that box runs to 0 in a fright, so I'm going to just leave it off. So 3.6, 3 and 6 tenths. If I am rounding to the nearest tenth, then I'm stopping at the 10th. Just like when I was rounding to the nearest whole number, I'm going to stop at the whole number. When I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, I'm stopping at the tenths place. On my next one, I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth. So I'm going to go box that hundredths place. And I'm going to go next door. I've got a 2. This is a 4 or less, so I'm going to let it rest. So this number in my box is going to stay the same. Everything to the left, I'm going to write. My 4 is staying to the same, and everything to the right of my box is going to run to 0. So again, I can put the 0 if I want, but it has no value, so I'm just going to leave it off. If I'm rounding, come back. If I'm rounding to the, sorry, let me get my pen back. If I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, then I should stop at that hundredths place. So here's my answer, 44 and 24/100ths. All right, so you can, let me get rid of all this. Where'd my, oh, there it goes. Come on. Let me do this the easier way there. Make things complicated. All right, so let's try some, and you can pause and see if you've got it. If not, then push play and I will explain it. So whole number, let's do 5.5. Rounding to the nearest tenth, let's do 536,909. All right, 100, let's do 7, 1, and then a 5, and a 7, and a 7. All right, let's try these. So whole number, again, pause, go ahead and solve it, and then see if we match. All right, so 5.5, the nearest whole number, I'm going to find that ones place. Go next door. The 5 tells me 5 or more, raise the score. So my 5 is going to be rounded up to a 6. Here, we're going to the nearest tenth. I go to that tenths place. I go next door. I've got a 9. That tells me I'm going to round up, raise that score. So everything to the left of the box stays the same. 536. And then over here, because I'm raising it, that 0 is going to turn to a 1. And, oh, I did the wrong thing. Well, ignore me. Miss Snyder, making mistakes. All right, 536. What was it? 909. All right, if you can tell me what I did wrong, I owe you a prize tomorrow. All right, there we go. All right, go next door. All right, so I've got everything to the left stays the same. And then when I get to that 10th spot, I look next door, it's a 0. 0 is 4 or less, so we're going to let it rest. So the 9 is going to stay the same. And then, again, this is where I caught my mistake. If I am only rounding to the nearest 10th, then I've got to stop at that 10th place. So that's where I found my mistake, because I noticed that I had boxed the wrong number. I needed the 10th place, so there we go. All right, next 100th. Here's my 10th place. Here's my 100th place. So I'm going to box that 100th. Go next door. I've got a 7. 5 or more, raise the score. So again, everything to the left, 7, 1, the decimal point, the 5, all of that stays the same. And then I'm going to look at this number in the box. It's a 7, so it's being raised to an 8. And again, if I'm rounding to the nearest 100th, then I should only be going as far as the 100th place. So 71 and 58/100ths. All right. Now, let me grab my eraser and get rid of all this. So again, our poem was find the number in its spot. Go next door and see what you've got. 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. All the numbers to the right, run to 0 in a fright. So you can use that poem to help you, but you also need to know the why. So let's say that we have a number line, and we have numbers, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. So these are our whole numbers. In between those whole numbers, if we were to zoom in, so let's say we zoom in here. So I'm going to draw another number line, but I'm going to be zoomed in. So here's 5 and here's 6, my whole numbers. We know that that's where we find our parts in between. So here, if I take 5 and I go to 6, there's 10 parts in between. These are my tenths. So here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 parts in between. I can think of this as a fraction bar, and if each one of these is a part, it would take all of these shaded in to make another whole. So each of these is 1/10. Okay, so let's say that I had the number, let me change here. Let's say that I had the number 5.3, and I want to, so 5.3 would be 1, 2, 3 right here. And if I want to round to the nearest whole number, I'm going to box that whole number. So I want to see which whole number it's closest to. I go to the right. To the right I've got a 3, so that's a 4 or less. We're going to let it rest. So this rounded to the nearest whole number would be 5. And you can see here, if I'm looking at my number line, this point right here is closest to the 5. The next whole number is way down here. So my only options are a 5 or a 6. If I see, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's midway, 5.5. If I'm trying to be to the nearest whole number, this is only 3 jumps away. The 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jumps away. So the nearest is my 5. So you could visualize it on a number line, thinking about what it's closest to, and use that poem again. It's find the number in its spot, go next door and see what you've got. 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. All the numbers to the right, run to 0 in a fright. So you can use that to help you just take through the steps. Again, when you're finding that number in its spot, that's the place value. So if we're rounding to the nearest whole number, it would be that ones place. And then go next door. You go next door to the right, see what you've got. This one is a 4 or less, so we're going to let our number rest. We're going to leave it alone. And then you just leave that 5 there, because everything that was to the right now became a 0. So it's just 5. Or you could say 5.0, but this is the same thing as just 5. Alrighty, so we will be reviewing tomorrow again the whole numbers, nearest whole number, nearest tenth, nearest hundredth. But in our game today, I just noticed that you were struggling just a little bit, so I wanted to add some extra help so you'll be extra ready to go for tomorrow. All right, thanks for watching.